I'm Rich Delaney, President of the Center for Coastal Studies, and glad you could join me today for a Dockside Chat. This is just a wonderful opportunity for us to stay in touch with our friends and members and colleagues, and all of you who are interested in the ocean and coastal research and education work that we do here at the center. I hope you're all doing well, staying safe, isolating well, and enduring this episode, and look forward to the day when we'll all be back enjoying activities together. But in the meantime, we've got a lot of good work going on. One of the projects that I'd like to share with you today relates to our Storm Tide Pathways project. It's very innovative. It takes the resources that Dr. Mark Borrelli and his staff at the Coastal Geology Department have. And it's an effort to help towns, coastal towns, understand where their most vulnerable spots are along their coastline so that they can take action to mitigate what is going to be the inevitable sea level rise and increased storm surges due to climate change. So that's a great example of the work that we do here. We like to call it science that matters, science that helps with a solution. So at this point, I'd like to ask Dr. Mark Borrelli to tell you a little bit about his project.
Thanks, Rich. What I'd like to do today is talk about that Storm Tide Pathway project that you mentioned earlier, and we'll talk about how we can look at storm activity, how local towns and the public can look at current storms that are happening in real time, and then how they can use it for sea level rise. As we know, sea level rise is occurring around the world, and unfortunately here in the Northeast of the United States, it's worse than in a lot of different places. The relative sea level rise is higher here than it is in a lot of different places around the world. So what we've done is, over the last few years, we've come up with this tool that towns and state and the public can use also to better understand inundation as it relates to storms, sea level rise, in real time and into the future. Here we are in Cape Cod. This is the study area that we're looking at. This is the Provincetown Hook on the very tip of Cape Cod. Rich mentioned that I was the director of the seafloor mapping program here at the center. And we have some really interesting data visualization tools and software that we can use to look at different aspects of coastal change. One of the things we use here is something called LiDAR data. Now this is topographic data in a digital form. And using the LiDAR data that we have, we can use the software that we use for seafloor mapping and map in a number of different ways. And we can zoom in to an area. This is downtown Provincetown. And we can slowly raise up the water. As that water starts to meet, we can see the low-lying areas inland and the ocean water, in this particular instance, Provincetown Harbor. Once the water rises to a certain level, at this point, here we have what we call a storm tide pathway. If we were able to stop the water flowing here, we would prevent flooding in this area. But once the water does reach this point, it floods this area. Once the water reaches this point, it floods the entire area here. And these storm tide pathways are important for local managers and the public to understand. When we finished this project, we worked with the National Weather Service. They have an office in Boston, and we gave them these data to put on their website, the Coastal Flood Threat and Inundation Mapping website. They take their real-time predictions for total water level, and they take our data, the storm tide pathways, and the extent of flooding, and incorporate them into their website. What we do after we use these data is we try and give people enough information to make decisions about what to do, when to do it, in terms of an oncoming storm in real time, or to plan for the future in terms of sea level rise and future storms. In addition to the data that are on the National Weather Service's website, here at the Center for Coastal Studies in Provincetown, we are going to be developing our own web-based app, similar to this one, that we're going to host on our own webpage. We're going to be able to provide more information on related topics through this website. And that should be up and running sometime this summer. So stay tuned.
Thank you very much, Mark. That's really exciting. And there's a lot more going on in that department. So those of you who are interested in that and all the other work we do to protect and conserve oceans and coasts, please visit our website, www.coastalstudies.org. Much more to learn and share. And it's also a great example of how the science that we do really matters. I think all those of you who know us know we're trying to work with our partners to find solutions to issues impacting the coast and the ocean. And the work that Mark just did through the storm tide pathways is a great example of that. Another good example is a study and some work I would like to share with you at our next Dockside Chat next week, and that's about our effort to protect the North Atlantic right whale. So please join me next week, same time, same place, to hear about the right whale work that we're doing with our partners in the field. So till then, please be safe, be well, stay in touch, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.